Hey, if you're an immigrant in Canada and you are considering getting your first home, here are some tips and strategies to actually help you save towards your down payment. So, your down payment is actually a crucial part of you owning your home here in Canada. And it's a down payment basically is what takes people years to actually put together, not because they are unserious, but because life is actually happening. There are bills to be paid, and before you know it, you keep paying bills. You probably have family back home that you're supporting, and because of that, life just happens, and you're unable to gather the money as wholesome as you need it for a down payment. But I hope that with these tips I'm sharing with you, you'll be able to have some information on how to go about it and start setting money aside for your dream home. Firstly, you can start by setting a specific goal, financial goal, for your dream home. For example, depending on the province that you are in, and depending on the province you intend to buy your first property, because you might be living in a province and want to buy a property in another province. So let's be clear on that. So wherever you choose to want to be able to buy your first home, it could even be somewhere that you're living in, maybe Ontario, for example, but where you can afford to buy a property now is Manitoba. And instead of spending that money, you probably just want to tie it down, buying a property and build from there. Okay, so once you are clear on where you want to purchase your home, you can go online to see like the range of the houses that you actually need to actually the range of houses or the range that houses go for. Please pardon my English and all that. The range of the houses that the prices of the houses, hey, wonder. The range of the houses and the location that you actually want to get it for. Just check for the price and kind of see what you like. So for example, if you see that they have townhouses as low as $300,000, you can actually know that, okay, so townhouses here cost 300K. Down payment for a first time home buyer, you can get away with paying just 5% of that. So if you calculate 5% of 300,000, then you'll be able to see, okay, so I need to save 15,000. I think that's right. So I need to save $15,000. That's the goal, right? And you having that in mind, please make sure your figures are correct, because apart from the down payment, there are other things that go into actually closing of a house: lawyer fees, taxes, property tax, lawyer fees, property tax, closing costs. Basically, those are money that's actually money that you pay to the government through your lawyer. So all this needs to be figured in. I think usually 2% of the total cost of the house is what you need to set aside for your closing fee. It could be less than that, but it's safer to just set that amount aside as your closing fee. So add that to the 5% that you actually want to keep aside also for your savings. So for the essence of this video, let's say that your goal is to save $20,000 as your first home purchase, or for your first home purchase in Canada, and now you're starting at zero. Let's walk through this. One thing about goals is you need to actually set a realistic time frame. So with this goal now, you know you need $20,000. Do you want to put a timeline to when you need $20,000 by? Is it the end of this year? Is it the end of next year? Is it in 6 months? Is it in 3 months? Depending on what your financial situation is, you can actually walk through a time frame that you need to save. Be realistic with yourself. Someone that possibly is able to maybe doesn't have a family, works in tech, can actually do away with putting $1,000 per month or $2,000 per month, depending on how much you make. That being said, it's going to be different for someone that probably has a family of maybe 5 and is trying to put some money aside, and maybe you can only save like $300 per month. Now, that being said, the variation in the amount will help you set a realistic timeline. And also, you could also think about it that, okay, do I have any serious money coming in? So for example, if you know that you get a lot of money back from tax, you could target your tax returns and say, okay, so for my next year tax returns, I mean this year tax returns, in the previous years I've been getting $5,000 for tax returns, so I'm going to keep $3,000 from that in a savings account towards my home. having such plans will be really, really helpful for you. So I would advise that you have a savings account. One way to actually have a savings account on an account where you can set aside money. The whole idea of this is so that you will not be tempted, day by day, because like I explained, in this part of the world can be crazy. But so that you will not be tempted to touch the money, you might want to tie it up in a savings account that you can access. An example of a savings account that might be good for someone who wants to purchase a home in Canada is your RRSP, right? Your RRSP has been set up to be able to help you save money for retirement. But you could take out money. The government allows you to take out money without penalties if you want to use that money to buy a house. So that could be an account that you want to use. Another one is the FHSA, First Home Buyer. I'm gonna put it in the on the screen so you can see it. And for these accounts, you actually can be able to get like even interest on whatever you put there, and it can yield interest and it can help you. So putting money aside in these accounts helps you to actually be more focused on your goals. And if you're somebody that you have strong willpower and you can still put it in your regular savings accounts that is on your phone and it's on your normal bank app and you not touch it, I give you my bum and carry my head and give it to you. Jokes aside, yeah. One thing you might also want to do for yourself is try to cut back on unnecessary expenses. I said unnecessary because, bills are real and all of that, but there are times that we just spend money. And that's why I believe that having a goal in the first place helps put your head in the right space. So the first thing we talked about is very important. And then now talking about unnecessary expenses, you might want to do a breakdown of your finances currently. What do you currently spend on? What are the most important things? How much do you have left after you've removed the most important things and you remove your tithes if you're a Christian? How much do you have left? How much do you want to set aside for your flex money? How much do you want to set aside for your emergency fund? And now, how much you want to set aside for purchasing a home? Right? And at times, I've done this exercise before, and after I sat down, when I just came to Canada, and after I sat down and I was able to go through my expenses, I discovered I was spending money on some things that were not necessary, like Uber. Fam, you can take the bus if you don't have a car, instead of taking Uber to work every day. So yeah, if you could look at your expenses, you can go through your bank app. If you use your credit card, for example, or your bank statements, normally regular bank statements, to see the things you spend a lot on. Yours could be eating out, and you might just want to cut out on, instead of eating out every day, I want to do once a week. You might also want to look for different ways to boost your savings. This could be in form of actually boosting your income. So you might want to check for if you want to get another job in order to be able to meet your goal. You might want to do some other jobs, maybe like some part-time jobs online, just to know that, okay, this particular job, I'm working these extra shifts, I'm working these extra hours, or this other job because this money is going solely to get in a house. For some people, they might even want to sell houses or items that they no longer need. For example, maybe you used to be a photographer and you have like a room full of gadgets and you just want to sell them off. To maybe selling them off could raise $3,000, $5,000 for you, depending on the stock of things that you have. Maybe you have 3 cars and you can sell off 1 or 2 and meet your 15,000 or 20,000 goal, like that. I believe that with these tips and with dedication and discipline, you're on your way to actually owning your first house. And please, I would also like to add praying. Pray about your goals. Pray about God actually laying his hands on your plans, on your savings. It's important because you could save money and then life situation just happens and takes them away like in an instant. For example, maybe you're sick, and yeah, that's why I advise insurance, also health insurance and all. But maybe your family member who doesn't have insurance and who you care for, who is a dependent, actually needs money and you just have to drop it. So pray that God rests his hand upon your path and the things that you actually try to work on. I hope this video has helped you. If it has, remember that I share content, helpful tips on how to live a successful life in Canada, hacks as a mom, self-development tips, faith. I talk about my faith, and I talk about family and lifestyle. See you next time. Don't forget to subscribe.